Hi, how are you? Hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Very good. Am I audible? And I hope the signals at both ends is good.
Yes, I think yeah, you're fine.
Okay, great. So I welcome you today for today's session, and I'll introduce you to our viewers. So today we have with us architect Raj Kothari from AVVO Architects, and I hope I'm pronouncing your firm name correct.
Yes, that's fine. It's
Okay,
AVVO.
so Okay, AVVO Architects. They are a Mumbai-based firm, and it has been 4 years since they have been into this trade. And Raj himself has done masters in spatial planning and development from the University of Reading in UK, and he is involved in luxury residences, sports complex, as well as some medical clinics and other whole host of architectural projects. And our today's session is all about choosing the ideal doors and windows for your homes. So we are specifically picking up luxury residences for today's discussion. So, Raj, let's move ahead with our first question of the day. How do you guys, we would like to have a brief from you of how do
Yes,
you guys
sure.
go about choosing the doors and windows for your projects?
So it's like first we kind of select the right functioning type for the doors and windows. So that's like the most crucial part, I feel. So you want to make it look seamless in your project. There are like two types of either doors. There's doors and windows. So there's sliding doors and there's openable doors and windows. We need to see whether like how the sliding and openable doors and windows are going to affect your area inside. So if we kind of choose an openable door, it will, or a window, it's gonna have the full light, ventilation, air, sound pass through completely. And then if you have like a sliding window, whereas that's gonna block a part of it, but that's gonna not take up your space inside and outside the building. Then after that, you kind of prioritize on your size and materials. So like, once you've established your how you want them to function, your focus will be like materials. So depending on the purpose of the room, you may have like stronger materials. You may have outward facing doors and windows. Then, like, fortunately, they are available in all varieties. Like, there's vinyl, there's glass, there's wood, there's aluminium, there's, metal filled plastic. So, each one has their own pros and cons. And then I think lastly, you kind of move on to like your color options and your, keep the structure of your project in mind. Yeah, so the lastly color option you can choose like a wood or a black or a silver or like a brass material that will go properly and which will complement your project. So yeah, I guess
Okay,
those
great.
are some of the factors which you can keep in mind while selecting the doors and windows.
Okay, so I'll kind of brief it in the form of pointers for our viewers. So
Sure.
what Raj is saying is that you should be looking at predominantly four factors which I've noted down. One, it starts from deciding the functional aspect of the window, whether it has to be sliding, casement, and opening directions is the second. I understand that Bombay has a lot of high-rise buildings wherein the opening directions inside outside also matters. Why? Because when you have
Correct.
apartments and
Yeah.
your windows are open inside, they take up some space next to the walls, and that can be enough for someone to use it in a more constructive way. And the third thing then he decides about is selecting the material of that window, which can be vinyl, aluminiums, you know iron, etc. What
Correct.
all options are available in the market. And the last being the color, basically in alignment with the overall design of the project or color palette of the project, I understand.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. So let's move on to the next question. Now, what are the important considerations for the selection in terms of today's age and awareness in the market? What I mean to say is that, when we talk of a window, we only talk about a window or a door and its functionality. But
Correct.
there are other, I would say, scientific things attached to it. I mean, we may call it energy efficiency, We may call it the performance factor. So how do you go about, choosing the product or the material other than the aesthetics
So
and the functional
yeah.
part, but from the scientific point of
So
view?
for clients, I guess first, say if we talk about cost also, if we take like there are certain sizes which are standard, if those we go about the sizes, then they might just help reduce the cost. Then because of Bombay, say you try to take the weather and the weather conditions, climate, altitude into factor. So the places that might not withstand the heavy rains that we are going through today, so that you have to have proper aluminum framework windows. You can have UPVC windows also, which will basically have the insulated layer which will protect the heat from coming inside that much. So then, because there are extreme hot climates here, so that will help a lot. Second is other than that, there is also sound. So if there's traffic, there's so much traffic, noise pollution outside. So basically, there are double glazed windows. There are yeah, so sound resistant windows that can help, especially in a noisy area. And then other than that, there's even double pane insulated glass windows that are there, heat resistant windows. So yeah, those will kind of help with the heat and the sound. Then, so for that examples, then there are casement windows which can help, I guess. Then there are like French windows can help, I guess, in I mean when you protect it with a UV layer, and if you want the big windows, then you can certain places where say you don't want the AC always on, and you say you have a ground floor structure, you can have skylights, you can have bay windows, top hung windows. Like then there are even there are of course pros and cons
Uh,
to everything.
yeah,
So yeah,
I would
so
like
apart
to.
from, yeah, tell me.
Sorry, anything that you would like to add in terms of energy efficiency, sustainability,
So say for that
practice?
reason, say we can go for example, most efficient windows, they can be fiberglass windows. So they can be fiberglass or wood clad. They can also like have a polyurethane foam. That is one. And also aluminium is good because it's a recyclable material. So that can really help in, by using that, we can have the recyclable material, sustain the resources that we are already, dilapidating repeatedly. So that will help kind of with a sustainable point of view.
Okay, so I'd like to add a few things
Yeah, sure.
to that answer. So obviously, these days we definitely have to be responsible enough to use sustainable materials. So there are enough materials available in the market which are easily recyclable, and we should also be looking at some products or materials which are made from recycled content. So that's one thing to take care of the sustainability aspect. The second thing is that whatsoever the material of the windows, one should be looking at also using high performance glasses because they end
Yeah,
up increasing the energy efficiency of the, I would say the place that is being they're being used in. So other than
correct.
the glasses, obviously we have materials like in aluminium, we have thermal break windows, and UPVC by its very nature is a thermally insulated product. So probably considering this aspect definitely has a payback value. Number one, obviously it's a responsibility of the end customer to use something which is sustainable in nature. At the same time, these things also have a good payback value going forward, and as they take care of also excessive electricity bills and
Yeah,
also high
exactly.
capacity of heating your air conditioning.
So yeah, initial cost might be a little high, but then it will really help in the future and in the
Yeah.
long term aspect.
Yes. So, okay, let's move on to the next question, Raj. So, what do you advise the customers while they should think while selecting their doors and windows?
So, of course, they should go through the selection process diligently, of course. Then, like knowing your available options. So, kind of do your own research. Come to us as architects, what is available. Come to experts like you guys, and get a brief what maybe we won't be knowing. So that can help the clients select. Come. take like you get come to the showrooms, you get like a feel of actually how the window you kind of people like you also give a demonstration of what all windows are available. Those kind of fenestrations can really help. Then like maybe doing a market survey, I guess. Also while doing the process, we as architects and the clients, we kind of um, go into the process of what the room wants to feel like, how the space is going to turn out for your home, and what kind of light and light, sound, ventilation you want to enter into your house or room. So kind of these, like there are certain like small windows also, those can help maybe just a shadow or a small light passing, and then there are really big windows. So there are a lot of different types. What kind of light do you want to enter? Then other than that, how thermally comfortable your room also you want. So sometimes like there can be windows that say you insulate them, they won't allow the heat to come through, but then they won't allow the cold breeze also, or that the cooling element also to come through, which we kind of surround it otherwise by concrete. So that also won't. So that you kind of have to balance out. So you don't want always the electricity being consumed in your house.
Okay.
Other than that, yeah, I can think you can take over from here. Yeah.
Yeah. Key pointers being that one should be looking at from where they can get the maximum light to reduce the artificial, or let's say the active lighting in the house. Then the second thing is that a person should definitely be looking at ventilation. Why? Because obviously ventilation is a very key aspect of keeping the internal spaces fresh. And the third thing is how to control the heat through the windows during probably we being
Correct.
in a tropical climate. That's a very important aspect. So all the three things: heat, light, air. Probably
And
we
yeah, heat, light, and also the connectivity between spaces. So if a door or a window you wanted to open upwards, you wanted sliding, and how that access you wanted most. So sometimes there are even upward opening windows that can create a pergola for the outside garden space. So those can also kind of help. So you got to see those things as well.
So basically, we're talking about a typology which basically connects two spaces, and
Correct.
which to connect two spaces in a better way or the best way possible. Okay, great. So let's move on to the next question. Any ideas about how customers can educate themselves about, how to go about in selection of doors and windows?
I think this kind of overlaps to the previous question as well. So, as I said, like do your own research, do your market research, come with us clients. I mean, come with us architects to different shops, view different companies like you, and see beforehand, how it's gonna formulate your space basically. So yeah, I guess it comes down to exploring your options as much as possible, and also educating yourself on the sustainable and thermal factor as well of a window. That will also helps in the environment and also reduces your own cost of electricity.
Correct. So basically, it all about, boils down to passive searches, as in terms of going to internet and searching around various companies of the various models that are with them. Also, checking out companies which are not only able to supply the product, because I understand that these days imported products are also in the fashion, but at the end of the day, people forget
Right.
about the service aspect of those products. So a customer should look at all the products that it selects for its dwelling or residence or whatsoever, keeping the service factor in mind. So why? Because these are mechanical products. They are operated by various types of people and multiple times during the day. So they should be definitely keeping their eye on the servicing aspect of the product. And
Exactly.
obviously, the, they should definitely be consulting as many consultants as possible, which are already attached with the project. I mean, it can definitely, one of them is the architect, and then maybe if they have a project management consultant or an engineer,
Yeah.
or more information from the vendors that they kind of are evaluating for selecting the product.
And as architects, we also kind of by experience know what doesn't work. So kind of go there, and also not that by projects moving ahead, even we learn so many things. Say you guys, how you all being in this company, so you guys also kind of educate us and learn about new things to kind of impart that knowledge further to the clients. So everyone, it's a learning curve for everybody.
Correct. So let's move on to the last question of the day. So, what has been your experience, with respect to the fenestration as a component of your design? I mean, how important it is for you to add fenestration, or give it a thought before you actually go about proposing a type of a fenestration in your projects.
Oh yeah, it's very important because how it will light up the space, what you have in the room. So if you have kind of like a den, you want that less lighting to come in. You want the shadows and small pockets of light to enter. If you have like a vast living room, then you want like big French windows, which will kind of help the light come in more. Also listen, like while listening to the client brief, we kind of get um what they want, how they want to feel the space. We kind of give them options. So fenestration, I guess, that is very important. So uh maybe, yeah, so even if we just generally, what we do is we add the biggest windows and just make a room. You have two sides which have windows, but you can also look at so many spaces which can be made in a different way, through fenestrations basically. So how they would light up the space, how they would connect two rooms to each other, or how they would connect the outside space and kind of have that indoor outdoor feel to it, if you want that. So there are so many shapes also of windows. Go make like custom windows as well. Don't be afraid of just using your rectangular shape. So, and then there's even, so if, other than aluminum, you can use wood also as the framework, which will kind of help in those things. So yeah, I guess, and then of course comes down to all your noise factors and thermal factors as well. So a lot of those things can help.
Okay, so let me just brief it for
Yeah.
everyone. Basically, Raj is saying that primarily for him, looking at the window or the fenestration as an element to light up the space is the first most important thing, which basically also helps him to interconnect spaces for the betterment of the resident and his designs. The third is the materials, and fourth is obviously the performance factors that
Yes,
become important
exactly.
in the product. Okay, so I think we are at the end of the session. It was a pleasing experience to have a conversation with you, Raj. Any last words on choosing the ideal doors and windows for your homes?
I
I
guess
mean, some
ALCOI. I guess that's ALCOI. So we have to really get into a business soon.
great. Thank you very much. We also invite you to kind of, whenever you decide to visit us and have a look
Yes,
at
next week we
experience.
shall schedule a meeting definitely.
Yeah, and whensoever we are there, that side, we'll definitely try and meet you.
Done. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. A pleasure.
Yes, see you soon.
See you.